I'm Larry, and this is Still Carter's Country. Today I'm joined again by Miles Enzor, Sig Sauer trainer. We're going to talk today about some Sig Sauer optics, and as usual, you brought a wide variety here, so I'm going to do what I do best and turn it over to you.
Well, that's no problem. I mean, we talked about, in the last series on 365, we talked about the pistol red dots. So we decided to go ahead and go into some of the other optics, because you guys carry our optics, and I brought in a spattering of like one-offs of every kind of optic that we do, just so people can have an idea, because otherwise we'd have three more tables here and it'd get kind of convoluted.
Have to be in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, we'd have to be in a warehouse. So I brought in some samples, and they're on Sig Sauer firearms, so we could even touch on that a little bit, because I even brought a variety of the firearms in. But so one thing is people have asked us, who makes your optics, who makes your ammo, because people know us as a firearms company. But about 8 years ago, Sig shifted to, we want to be the full weapons provider, systems provider, because we were, bidding military contracts for firearms, and somebody else bid in for optics or ammo and stuff like that, and silencers, and we had the resources and the people. So we expanded we brought in some more people from the company that had experience in other fields, from other optics companies and stuff like that. So we developed the Sig Optics division, the Sig Ammo division, the silencer division. And we brought in some of the finest people in the country from those fields to come in and run and to develop our products. And so specifically, we're going to talk about the optics today. Our optics division is out in Oregon, which is a good base of operations for optics, because that's where a lot of stuff comes in. A lot of stuff comes in from overseas. And if we need electronics and stuff like that, Oregon and Washington are a good place to be located at. So
makes sense.
Now, Sig Optics, a lot of the optics, like most optic companies, some of them are manufactured, they're developed over here, they're manufactured overseas, and then brought back in and QC'd over here. Some of our stuff's done like that. Some of our stuff, though, because we do a lot of stuff for military contracts, are actually built over here in clean rooms at Sig Optics. So, and we'll talk a little bit about that, because it varies based on the product that we have. Either way, though, all of our stuff is developed and R&D'd right here in the States by our optics people. So.
And even the stuff that out of necessity or whatever isn't, it's still firmly and completely under Sig quality control, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have the final say on the product. So, yeah.
So yeah, that's it's just we're probably going to get to the point where we'll be fully built over here, but it's just, that's kind of a difficult thing to go from ground zero up with an optics division.
Right.
We have the engineers, we have the R&D, we have the capability of Sig, but if it's military, we'll go into that right now. If it's a military item or something that's specified that has to be built in the United States, we do. So a lot of our optics, you'll see a nomenclature like the Romeo 4T or the 8T or the Tango 6T. Anything with T at the end is usually a military contracted optic, and those are built in-house.
Okay.
So we bring the components in, assemble them, and put them together under government guidelines and stuff like that. And then we have a clean room. I've been up the optics plant several times. They just to keep expanding that facility where we actually manufacture those optics. So, but let's go over the basic optics. So Sig does scopes. We do open red dots. We do a closed red dot, and we do magnified battle optics. And then we talked about the pistol open red dots too that we do. So we do basically every one of the optics categories you can think of inside the optics family. Then one of our most famous is the Bdx System. So this looks like a normal hunting scope right here, but embedded in this scope is Bluetooth capability with electronics and basically fiber optics communications to the reticle. So you have a phone app, you have your rangefinder, and your scope are all interlinked with each other. And in a nutshell, basically, you have your ballistics programs set into your ballistic profile for your firearms, set into your iPhone or Android app. And then when your rangefinder ranges a target, using that data from the phone, it sends and communicates to the scope, and then a dot drops below. So you have the center of your crosshair, but if your holdover is, let's say, 3.5 mils, it's going to drop down the equivalent. There'll be a little fiber optic dot light up that indicates 3.5 mil holdover for that distance with that caliber. And that's, I mean, we could get into this all day, but we're going to keep it very simple today.
It sounds like, Star Wars goes hunting.
Yes.
I mean, that's just.
I mean, the long range market has kicked off in the country in the last 10 years. And whereas those of us that grew up shooting, milling reticles and stuff like this gives the consumer a new opportunity where it's basically plug and play, range the target, the correct holdover lights up inside the reticle, and you hold to that reticle and squeeze the trigger.
Wow.
Now, obviously, when it comes into play, this is the Sierra 3, the new Sierra 6 scope that we have out, actually has a Christmas tree reticle that actually not only holds over for the shot, but actually feeds in the wind hold too. And so you actually hold the dot based on the wind and the holdover and make the shot. So
wow.
It's up to you just to have the correct dope down in previous engagement. So
if the amount of guilt I would have if I missed having that kind of technology available, knowing that 100% it was me, I don't think I would tell any of my fellow hunters that I had all this capability. Yeah. That way, if I missed, I could, use the old throwdown well scopes off or whatever. But that's like something you would think you would find in a fighter jet or something. I had no idea that kind of technology was available.
Well, technology
scope.
Just keeps getting smaller, more compact. The ability, it's cheaper. So as technology gets more compact and cheaper, it just keeps getting applied to better uses. And in this case, Bluetooth, the Bluetooth print. Now the Sierra 6, they moved it up here for better conductivity between the rangefinder and the scope. But on the Sierra 3, it's right here at the bottom of the mechanicals. Yeah. So Bluetooth can be hidden inside of a scope and not. I mean, like I said, this looks like a normal hunting scope.
Right.
There's nothing space age about this.
Yeah.
And the fact that pretty much everybody has an Android or iPhone app, smartphone and the apps capability, it's able to transmit. And the great thing is, the rangefinder and the scope are separately. So people ask me, Miles, what happens? Some little simple things out there the public usually wants to know. If I buy the system, what happens if the battery goes dead? Your scope's still zeroed. You still have a fixed reticle inside the scope. So at the end of the day, if you never put a battery in this scope, if you never use the rangefinder or the app, you still have a normal hunting scope because it has a normal reticle inside. You zero your weapon to 100, 200 yards, whatever your favorite hunting zero is, and you put it in there. And if right now the battery goes dead, you still have the same capability. And like we used to do in the old day, you just do Kentucky windage and hold the reticle over based on the distance of the animal, because most people know what the drop is for their bullet. But I mean, once again, the battery power on these things, they just go and go. It has auto shut off so that you don't run the batteries down. The other thing is with the new Bdx 2.0 system, it simplified the way it links up with each other, and it added in a few new features that if you don't have a smartphone, you still have the capability of doing some stuff in this with basic holdovers. Right. The other thing people ask us is, well, why this over a normal BDC scope? Well, you're a 6.5 Creedmoor guy, I'm a 308 guy. If we go out there right now and buy an old school version of BDC, which means that scope is specifically engineered to hold over for 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm not going to want to buy it from you. I'm not. Or if you decide to change to a 308, the scope can't be moved over to 308. This electronically lets you turn this scope into any caliber that you put this gun on. And when I say any caliber, if there's ballistic data for it, 7mm 08, 6.5 Swede, 330 at Lapua. Name off some weird stuff that most companies wouldn't even make a BDC holdover for.
Right.
This electronically will turn that into that caliber.
It's ready for it.
Yeah, it's ready for it. So, and you can have multiple platforms loaded in. The other thing is, if you can have multiple different ballistic loads. So if you're a 6.5 Creedmoor guy, there's match, there's hunting. How many hunting ammos does Carter's Country sell on the shelf for 6.5 Creedmoor? I'm sure there's probably at least 10 different loads
plenty,
out there. Yeah. So if you buy 5 of your favorite brands of ammo, you can go out and verify all 5 brands of ammo on your phone, ballistic data for that. And at any given moment, depending on what you're going to hunt, you can change the phone to say, I'm shooting this load or this load. You can go from SIG ammo to Federal to whatever, to Sierra Match King, and change to that. And the scope will automatically adapt to the ammo you're running to. You just have to program it in. So the sky's the limit with this. You just have to go with it.
To a guy that started out as a kid hunting with a 4-power scope, With it, just the I mean, that's just mind blowing to me. And maybe a lot of the people watching this are already familiar with this. I knew some scope technologies had come around. I'd seen some of that over the years, but it's just really amazing the amount of technology. And like you said, all the technology's inside. It looks just like a normal hunting scope.
And the great thing about this, once again, is another thing Sig did is a lot of people have to choose. Most hunting scopes are second focal plane. A lot of tactical scopes are first focal plane. The problem with second focal plane is you have to be in max power usually to use the holdover reticle. In the Sig Bdx system, it doesn't matter if you're on low power, high power, anywhere in between. It digitally changes the plane, keeping the holdover exactly what it needs to be. So basically it's a digital first focal plane is the best way to describe it.
Right.
So you don't have to run to max power to get the appropriate holdover. No matter where you're at on your power, you're going to get the appropriate holdover.
It handles all that for
It digitally alters for the focal.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep.
That's some serious technology
and
strap on a rifle.
very affordable. The Sierra 3 is our most affordable platform. The Sierra 6 brings a little bit higher in glass with a little bit more digital capabilities inside the scope. So the price point goes a little bit up. But at the end of the day, based on consumer feedback, for what customers are getting in this, it's just stupid cheap. I mean, it's just unreal. And the great thing is we kept the range finding and the scope capabilities separate from each other, because rule number one in firearm, don't point a gun at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy.
Right.
Which means if I don't have to use my scope to range find the target. I use the rangefinder to look and range find the object I want to get. If I'm ready to, then I can point the firearm.
Then you pick the gun and you're ready to go.
Yep, point the firearm.
Fantastic.
So, moving on.
It's going to be hard to top that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, we're getting the military optics. So, but another thing is a lot of things, especially with pistol carbines, people like a low profile, lightweight, easy to view optic. So the Romeo 3 XL is basically an oversized pistol red dot, open red dot. But in this capability, this is designed more for carbines and for shotguns. Okay. I know a big thing with turkey hunters. A lot of people are going to these open pistol red dots on rifle platforms because they want a low profile optic that gives them a quick target acquisition. Matter of fact, when I was in Africa, one of the PHs was running his rifle that he used mainly for Cape buffalo hunting, and iron sights can have, as far as target acquisition and quick response when seconds are in a deep concern with getting killed by an animal.
Right.
The pistol red dot gives you faster target acquisition. So a lot of those guys were mounting these micro pistol red dots on their dangerous game rifles for quicker, faster follow-up shots on the dangerous game.
So it's not a matter of just looking cool or convenience. It's literally life and death for that professional hunter out there in the brush.
Red dots, if properly trained on a red dots are faster than iron sights. Now, there's some people who could argue that, but generically speaking, an individual that had properly practiced and trains with a red dot optic can acquire a target faster than with the iron sights.
Key being practice and training.
Yeah, practice and training.
You can't just buy it and be good.
Yeah. You're gonna, once you go to an optic, if you're not used to shooting a red dot and you change from iron sights to a red dot, there's gonna be a transition period. So hit the range and get used to practicing, even if it means dry firing. So
right.
But so those are the open red dots, pistol, shotgun, rifle application. Moving on, you would have your closed red dots, which in this case we have a Romeo 8T here. This is a large windowed 40 millimeter field of view. So that is in the comparable area of an EOTech, where you want that nice large window and a good field of view. The great thing about Sig Optics is we usually, in one specific category of optic, let's say the Romeo 8 or the Romeo 4, which are rifle closed red dots, we give not only the option to have 4 reticles. So if you hold the plus minus, the ramp up and ramp down on your intensity of your red dot, if you hold both those down simultaneously, you can get up to 4 reticle options. Okay. We have a few red dots that have 2 reticle options, but most of them are 4 reticle options in there, which means you're a simple dot guy, but I like the circle red dot, which you see in EOTechs and some of those other ones. You and I can buy the same optic, but we can pick which red dot we want, including holdovers. So you see a lot of people running magnifiers behind their non-magnified red dots.
Right.
with the reticle options, you have a holdover which gives you 5, 10, and 15 MOA rough holdovers. When you throw the magnifier behind there, you can see those holdovers clearly.
They'll still, okay.
And then you just need to figure out what your rifle shoots at those 3 holdovers.
Okay.
So, which is unique. I mean, till Sig came along with their red dots, I know of no company that I can think of that did multiple reticles, much less 4 reticles with holdovers. So.
And that's you know, people that haven't shot a lot don't understand, and maybe it's just one of the many ticks that I have. Having a reticle I like is huge to me. I don't know what it is, but it's great to have those options. Yeah. People that haven't shot with this type of optic may not understand that, and it is definitely something you can get past or get used to or whatever. But it is fantastic to have 4 different options to get the view that you want, that you're comfortable with, that you feel like you shoot best with.
Well, and red dots, not only do they give a faster target acquisition, but red dots can give you multiple reticle options. They can, based on the intensity that you set the dot at, you can be in low light, you can be in bright sunlight.
Right.
You give the option to change the intensity of what you're looking at for better acquisition to your eye, what your eye picks up. So when you throw that red dot up, your natural point of aim, if it's bright out, you might need to ramp that up. If it's a dark room, you might need to take it down. Including, like a lot of the good optics that are out there, including Sig, we provide at least 2 NVG settings, night vision settings in there, so you can ramp below normal visual light. You know, what your eye sees down to what the night vision, your NVG sees.
So if you're out there on a moonless night hog hunting or something, you've still got what you need.
Yep, you still run them. The other thing is that Sig provides, we talk about versatility. Sig's huge on versatility, is in any given these platforms, like you guys carry all of our red dots out there. There's Romeo 5s, Romeo 4s, Romeo 8s, Romeo 7s. We offer a lot of times different variations of those platforms. So a guy comes in here, he has a budget. All he's ever gonna do with that is maybe hunt with it or use it strictly for home defense. He doesn't need military grade and spend the extra $100 to $300 for a military grade optics platform. So our H's and our S platforms, so if a Romeo 4S or a 4H are designed to be more budget minded, they provide waterproof and some shock resistance, but based on the consumer that's using it in an urban environment or in generic hunting settings, that they're not gonna need extreme durability in that optic to the point where they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So our Romeo 8Ts, our Romeo 4Ts, and the Romeo 6Ts, those were designed for military contracts, and the shock and waterproof on that meets SOCOM requirements, which are above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Right.
So
beyond anything you're going to encounter on a hunting trip.
Yeah, if you really want to get now, like per se, we on our scopes we make our Tango 6, which is our high-end tactical scope. We specifically want a military contract. That scope is the Romeo 6T. That specifically met those contract requirements. Now, I was going over to Africa. I was paying a lot of money to do what I really love to do. And when I took my rifle, my bolt gun over, I wanted to make sure that I had an optic that would take everything and anything it could throw at it. And because I was in a foreign country, I wouldn't have a chance to go back to the store and buy another one.
Right.
If let's say it fell off the truck and got run over or something like that. So on my particular bolt gun I took to Africa, I took the SOCOM Tango 6T with me on my gun because I wanted to know that thing would go through anything.
The peace of mind,
and get back out of the country on a trip I spent a lot of money to do.
Right.
So peace of mind basically.
Yeah. So there could be it's nice that if a guy does want that T option, that it's there, but somebody's not strong-armed into getting that when they like everything else about that optic, but they just don't need the overkill or the overbuild of it. Yep. So it's good that you can basically get the same optic that's equally suitable to the T for your use.
Yep. Sometimes versatility just has to do with price point. So, and I can guarantee the customer, whether they're buying the base Romeo 5 or the base Romeo 4 or 8, are still going to get a phenomenal optic.
Absolutely.
For what they're going to do with it, it's going to do everything they need to do. It's going to hold up. But there are customers that come through your store, I'm sure, that when they buy something, they want the best of the best. And being that Sig, everything Sig builds is catering around military and law enforcement.
Right.
But the great thing is minus 1 or 2 exceptions I can think of, everything that we sell to the military and law enforcement gets transposed into what we sell to the commercial side. So a customer coming into Carter's country is going to be able to buy pretty much anything that we also make for military or law enforcement use. So, including which the Rattler that's sitting right here that the Romeo 8T is on. The Rattler is it's part of the MCX family. It's a PDW weapon, and if you're looking for the coolest truck gun you could ever have, I mean, right there it is. So,
and wildly popular.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we could just get more of them out the door and make people happy, which I think is coming. So
yeah, well, I mean, we've all learned in the past year and a half. Anyone in virtually any business has learned how to deal with supply chain issues, and I think the public, the buying public, now has come to understand that too. And you know, a company like Sig, a company like Carter's Country, we're going to do everything we can to make everything we can available, and we're going to do our damnedest to make that happen. But the reality of the situation is some things right now are moving a little slow. You know?
And if you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you come into the store and you're looking for something in particular and you don't have it in stock, there's ways of ordering that in.
Absolutely.
So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got our online store, which basically means if any of our distributors have it readily available, we can get you one. And if our distributor, even if our distributor doesn't, we can look at it and see about taking a special order and finding it somewhere else to get it to you. As long as you understand there's time frames involved with that aren't involved with the normal purchase.
But supply chains are getting better though.
Yeah, they are.
Things are getting better.
Absolutely.
Things are mellowing out a little bit.
Yeah.
So customers out there that are coming in the shop should find a better selection building up over time.
Yeah, well, it's already improved greatly over, let's say, 3 months ago.
Well, Larry, if you want to hand me that other rifle over there, we'll talk about that real quick because it has one of our newest optics on there. So you guys have done really well selling the M400 Treads from what I understand.
Yeah.
So this is the newest edition. We'll talk about both the optic and the rifle. This is the new addition to the M400 Tread family. This is the Predator. It comes in this really cool hunter green type color. It reminds me of the Cold War, but I love the color. It's got a unique stock on it. It comes with an ambi charging handle, and as always, the ambi selector switch and stuff, and with the M-Lock free-floating rail adapter. So this is just basically an upgraded Tread that kind of specializes around the varmint and predator hunters.
Right.
So, but what's unique about this is I also have mounted on here is the new Bravo 4 Battle Pack. And we call it a Battle Pack because it's unique. I haven't mounted it on here yet, but not only do you get a fixed 4-power magnification battle optic, but if you notice there's a plate right here, you can take that off, and inside the pack that you buy, you get a Romeo 0, which you can put that on there. So the 365 micro red dot, pistol red dot, you can mount right here for CQB purposes or close range. Because we know sometimes coyotes can be out at 300 yards, and sometimes they come running right up to you at about 25 yards. So if you ever need a zero magnification quick reflex red dot, you have that option to mount on here if you want to, or you can steal it out of the battle pack and go put it on your 365 if you want to. But we call it the battle pack because it comes with the battle magnified optic and the Romeo 0.
That's great. So, that's a great
and those
package.
Are shipping right now. So so anybody that asks, I saw the Bravo 3, which is the 3-power version of this. But I'm pretty sure you guys have the Bravo 4 battle packs coming in. If not, you can order in for them. But,
my guess is we do have them coming in or headed our way.
And if you notice, like I said, this is just a small sampling of our optics to kind of give the consumers that are watching this video just an idea of the different optics that SIG provide. But if you notice that on a couple of the optics here that we had, they came with the flip-up caps in the box, and which are adjustable. They can be removed. They can be modified to flip up, down, left, or right. But the Romeo 8 there comes with them, the Romeo 4s. SIG is a big proponent of shipping a lot of the accessories in the pack when you buy the optic, which includes flip-up caps and a bikini cap sometimes, which some people prefer one over the other ones. And I know most of them come with both of them in the box. So.
Well, I know myself from personal experience, trying to find the right caps aftermarket to fit a scope is a very, very tricky thing. So having them come with it is something that's going to save a lot of people a lot of trouble trying to shop either online or in stores to try to find the right fit. So it's great that they ship with that, and I really like that they ship it with the additional red dot.
It gives you the option to already have it in the box if you have it ready to go if you need it.
Right.
Some people don't realize that sometimes it's nice having that open, non-magnified red dot. But yeah, that's pretty much a sampling of what we have. I mean, you and I walked over and checked the counter out before we started this video just to see what was in the counter. And you guys had at least, I think, 12 to 14 different SKUs of red dots and scopes sitting out there right now.
Right.
And every day that changes. You can get more in. And like you said, you can order online or they can special order in. And the other thing is that the rifles. We have the rifles laid out here. And from what we understand, what we're seeing is rifle availability is becoming a little bit better now. It's summertime, things are leveling out a little bit. You should start seeing more MCXs, the Vertices and the Rattlers in stock. The treads are starting to ship. We have the gas impingement 716 here, which is our 308 battle rifle, which a lot of people still love the 308 for hog hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The great thing about the 716 impingement rifle is it's a lot more affordable than the piston-driven 716 that we used to sell. This was developed for a NATO country for their military, and SIG decided to package it up in a tread package and sell it to the public too. So for those guys that are looking for a high-quality product like a SIG rifle, but not have to pay a lot, I think these retail for what, about $1,400 if I remember correctly.
Right,
so, so it's definitely very affordable for a SIG battle rifle.
It's a lot of gun for the money.
Yep.
And 308, I mean, talk about battle tested, tried and true. It's for an all around cartridge. It's a tough one to beat.
Can't beat it. So
yeah.
But yeah. So this gives you a good overview of what we have, and like I said, there's an online. If anybody out there watching has any questions about the optics, and you kind of heard that we said we made multiple models of this, but you weren't really sure, the website has all these laid out on there. You can go on there and check them out, the specs, what waterproof rating they're rated to. Kind of find out what you're looking for, and remember, if you write it down, come in and see these guys, or check out the online store, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We will do anything we can to get the product in your hands, as SIG does with us. So, well, thanks again. Another informative video. This scope kind of blew my mind, and if you're looking for a SIG optic, if your questions somehow weren't answered here, like he said, go to the website and you'll find the answers you're looking for about the products you're going to want. Thanks again for joining us, and remember, if you've ever shopped, shot, or hunted with us, you're already a part of the Carter's Country family. Until next time, adios.
Adios.